watching the videos and the news of what's happening on the streets of America, most of our cities are war zones now. The police are not coming to save you. They're not going to protect you. You are on your own. Remember, when you are out in public, especially when you're in a city, you are on your own.
Hey there, freedom fighters. I'm coming back at you with another Manic Monday rant. And like I said previously, I've been a little out of the loop and there wasn't a show last Monday, so a lot of stuff to catch up to and definitely lots of stuff to rant about. So let's see some of the stuff we got here. Pulled up an article of an illegal alien attack, which, happens all the time, and an illegal immigrant kidnapping. And, so it looks like it's pretty much part of the course of just another day in America. And I actually had an event I was going to do an episode of Storytime a while back about, but a close family friend, her mom was actually in a car accident by an illegal alien and totaled her car. I mean, absolutely destroyed it. Put her in the hospital, and she had tons of medical bills, along with the loss of her vehicle and all this stuff, insurance premiums, and all this stuff. But basically, essentially, they didn't cover any of it. Insurance didn't cover it. They didn't. The vehicle was at a loss. I'm not sure if she didn't have insurance or um the case. I don't know all her specifics, but she was basically left on the hook for a lot of things that this person that shouldn't even be in our country did to her. And that's pretty much where we're at. Like I said, I mean, that's America in a nutshell and what's going on. But I was watching this video the other day from Jeremiah Babe, kind of catching up on the news, and he was talking about this Cincinnati attack that happened. But what he was saying in there was, you're on your own. One of our taglines, that I've been doing for a while. And, I think I did a video about that before, where even Guns and Gadgets did a video about that, where he was saying the same thing. Like, and, I feel like, Jeremiah Babe, he's I don't know what you want to call him. He's definitely a Trump supporter, like, a Republican sided person. I'm pretty sure he's espoused his support for the police in the past. He's your typical back the blue, kind of Republican. Same as Guns and Gadgets. He's kind of the same thing. He's actually a previous cop, but it seems that people have come, are slowly coming to the realization that the cops aren't coming to save you. The police aren't here to save you, and they're not going to. And that was his whole point, with these attacks in Cincinnati. And he was like, our cities are war zones, and he was just like, you're on your own when you're in here. And then I was looking further into those attacks because I didn't see what happened on that. I was away during that time. Like I said, I'm kind of catching up on all the news and stuff that went on. But originally it looked like these white individuals were attacked, which is nothing new. Again, I've covered videos of that countlessly before. But at first they were just like, oh yeah, they got attacked at this jazz festival. And then it came out that one of the victims, I'm not sure which one it was, there was a lady that was attacked and like two or three gentlemen. But yeah, I can't remember if it was the lady that said the N-word or one of the guys or something. I know one of them did an interview. I think it was one of the guys who was like, I didn't say anything. He was like, I was just good Samaritan trying to break up the fight or, help people out, and then I got sucker punched and, knocked out. Um, so I can't remember if it was the lady who said something or it was one of the other guys, but um, and now all these news channels are running it and blaming the victims, and that's something I wanted to talk about as well. Was when did we become this, um, like we used to be a sticks and stones don't break my bones, or will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's the society I grew up in and was always told, like, oh, yeah, kids are going to bully, people are going to say things about you and, hurt your feelings or whatnot. But, that's all it is. It's words. Um, and that's kind of how we grew up. And I'm sure, if you're part of that, generation, that's how you grew up as well. And now it's like, oh no, but if you say the word, if you say some bad words, I mean, call it what you want, the snowflake generation, or whatever it is, it's somehow accepted now that, like, oh yeah, well, violence is acceptable if you use the word. Um, and if that's the society we're going to, like, if that's where we're going, if it's fair game, then let us know. Because, there's tons of anti white racism all the time. And if that's what they're doing, they're saying green light to, whenever there's a racist comment or anything like that, you get to act out. Well, again, like I said, let us know so we know, what kind of playing field and what kind of playground we're playing on. But yeah, so I mean that's how that goes, and I mean if words are now actionable, I've talked over and over about these treasonous politicians who talk about gun control, and I've long said we shouldn't even allow that conversation. When Beto O'Rourke says, hell yeah, we're taking your AR-15 or your AKs or whatever, um, those are death threats. Those are um, violent words, if you want to per se. Inciting violence upon a portion of the population, and should we treat that as political ideal and debate, or are those now actionable words? And then I guess in other news, you can't say any words or they'll arrest you for hate speech, or you're allowed to be open for attack, but they won't allow any all white communities to be built. I saw this guy Aaron, he's kind of going through the rounds right now, and they're doing all these viral videos where he's starting up some all white community called Return to the Land in Arkansas. And it's kind of reminded me about the video I did on balkanization. And I said you can run, but you can't hide. And I believe, I mean, I'm not saying that you don't do anything, because, you have to do something, but I mean, you look at Ohio, right? I've talked about Ohio a lot, which is a deep red state. It's majority Republican. I can't even remember. They might have gone all red, except for maybe like a few, cities or communities, which is like all states, which, like I said, it's just a couple specks of cancer that will ruin your state. In Ohio, you got Cincinnati and Cleveland, stuff like that. And every state has, that exact same problem that's going on, that's just taking over and destroying the states. But, um, all kinds of stuff. You got this veteran I saw actually on a Guns and Gadget episode that was arrested for firearms traveling through the state of Connecticut, I believe is where it was. And I forget where he was coming from, but again, man, something we talk about all the time. He was, like I said, a veteran, no criminal record, and it sounded like he was living out of his vehicle. And they pulled him over, and of course he's got his stuff with him. They saw ammo cans in the back seat, asked if he had firearms, and he's in a non-freedom tyrannical state that violated his rights. And surprise, surprise, there was a bitch ass cop that was willing to follow orders and bring them in and book them and do the paperwork. You know, the right wing, the Trumpian Republican, we're winning, will tell you that those cops don't exist and that they're, back the blue because they back you and they're on your side. And the patriotic, veteran loving police are going to give you a slot. It shouldn't even be for veterans or the one of their own, thin blue line gang members. It should be for everyone, the citizenry. But if not even them, then it's for nobody else. You have no rights, you have no freedoms. They're going to do as they're told and follow orders. But I wanted to get back anyway onto that, Jeremiah Babe video, which I'm going to have to try to find that clip. I mean, it was only a couple days ago. I'm sure I can find it, but, he's like, the cities are war zones. And when you're in these cities, you're on your own. And I talked a little bit about the New York NFL building event where the guy went on a spree, and I was talking about, like, if you were carrying in New York and you were defending yourself and you put this guy down, no doubt about it, you would have been arrested and on firearms charges, probably felony firearm charges, and they would have charged you for like assault and battery and murder and all this stuff on uh, a criminal active shooter. And again, there's the duty to protect yourself or your family lies on no one but yourself. And that's what the you are on your own mantra or, saying is all about. And it comes number one, we always talk about it, free speech, and number two, the right to bear arms. And if you don't have those, you aren't free. And you can't protect yourself, and all these order following cops that are doing as they're told are violating their oath and violating the Constitution, and nothing happens about it. And Cash ain't doing nothing. Even within the FBI, like I've already said, he hasn't fired anybody. There is no draining of the swamp. It's over and over. I'm not even really going to go back into that. I've talked about them enough. But Trump doing pretty much the same thing. It all comes back to what I said, man. They're not going to save you. If you're looking towards government, if you're looking towards a politician, if you're looking towards a president, or any of these people, in the case of that Cincinnati case, I forget, they were online. I think it was someone on the city council was like, oh, these people were begging for it. Like I said, they were blaming them. um she had a profile of all this anti-white stuff. The mayor came out and was like, in support of the people doing the assault. The police chief came out and gave a conference blaming the news and for riling up tensions rather than the people who are assaulting people based on language. Um, and Trump, I mean, like I said, the whole thing's going down. He's giving more funding and weapon aid to Ukraine. Surprise, surprise. And he said he's gonna. Supposedly, there's some stimmy checks coming out. $600 checks he floated out there. Again, but that's not even helping you, right? Um, I mean, things are getting crazy. I'll probably talk about that in a future video, just about the economy and all this stuff. But basically, man, at the end of the day, it's what I wanted to talk about, and what I always say: you are on your own, man, and nobody's coming to save us. So I'm probably gonna just leave it there, and hit the tagline, cause ain't nobody coming to save us. You are on your own, and to get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom fighters out.